gang, moon gang, moon gang. Boy, do I have a video for you. I will be doing my best to explain why I personally believe that the hedge funds are absolutely, unequivocally screwed. Of course, these are my own personal opinions, and maybe it's just the utterances of a madman, or maybe I'm onto something. Only time will tell. Just so you know, I'm filming this after the market has closed on Wednesday, May 12th. AMC closed out the day at 10:32, and GME closed out the day at 144.79. All right, let's hop into it. Today, I want to start off with GME. Here's a look at the daily chart. As you can see, we are still below this overall daily wedge, a wedge of consolidation. The main thing I'm looking for is for GME to get back up into this, which would roughly be around 166, 167. That's what I will be looking for in the remainder of the week. In terms of the short interest numbers, today we saw a massive net borrow of shares, up over 500,000 shares, which puts it around pretty much 14 million shares on loan. To start today off, the utilization was around 59.43%, which means it's probably higher at this point. And overall, GME is sitting at a current short interest of the free float estimated around 23.31%. Also, just so you know, based on the daily trading average over the past 2 weeks, the days to cover would be around 3.55 days. That's how the current situation is looking for GME. Now let's turn our attention over to AMC. And here's where I think I could kind of explain some new data points I don't think really too many people are speaking about. But before we get into that, just so you know, AMC right now tracking very nicely to the upper end of this line. I'm looking for that breakout. After that breakout, I'll then be watching basically 1225, because after that it sets up 1450. But really the first test will be to see how it reacts to the top end of this wedge right here. That's what I'll be looking for from a technical perspective. All right, so now let's hop into the data. So the first thing I want to bring to your attention is there was a net return of shares today, 462,000, which puts the shares on loan around 152.5 million. To start today off, the utilization was 100%. When Ortex updates all of its information tomorrow morning, I bet we're still at 100%, or maybe the high 99s. I don't really see it changing that much. So the first thing I want to talk about is from Monday, May 10th, up until Tuesday, May 11th, the estimated short interest dropped from 23.72% to 22.06%. To me, and actually verified by Ortex, this does not mean that shorts are covering. And actually, Ortex, shout out to them, they did have an awesome clarification right here. You could check this tweet out yourself. As the exchange released in the short interest in AMC yesterday, this data is considered for today's estimates. The estimated short interest is down slightly. This does not mean that any covering has happened. The shares on loan are almost flat from yesterday. It's just the model recalibrating as it knows more. So basically what it's saying right here, this information was just release data yesterday. They are running a very fancy model that kind of right here, estimated short interest. With this new information, it was able to recalibrate, give us more accurate information. Hence this drop, it was just a recalibration in the model. It has nothing to do with shorts covering. I want to make that very, very clear. Also, the other thing that we should talk about right now is the daily trading volume over the past 2 weeks. Based on that, the days to cover, as in how long it'll take all the shorts to get out of their position, around 4.27 days. I get this question a lot. Do you have enough time to transfer from Robinhood to Webull? Personally, I think the answer is going to be yes, because I don't see the short squeeze playing out in a day. There's just too many shorts betting against AMC to possibly cover in a day. Actually, right now, based on this 2-week average trading volume, it's really going to take the better part of an entire trading week. So keep that in mind, but also understand that there is risk in this situation, because you never know what's going to happen in the stock market. So now with all of that out of the way, I do want to talk about some things that we were discussing yesterday. So right here, this is very, very new to Ortex, basically the live updates, the cost to borrow. The main thing is, why is there such a discrepancy between this, iBorrowDesk, and Fintel? Well, we know iBorrowDesk only gets their data from Interactive Brokers, and Fintel, we don't know the name of it, but it's just going to get from one source. This data that kind of gets processed all night and is presented to us in the morning from Ortex has 85% coverage of all of the main prime brokers out there. And So that's why, to me, it's more of a complete picture. But right here, a lot of people yesterday were pointing out, well, why is the cost to borrow minimum higher than what we see on iBorrowDesk, Fintel? At that point, you can safely assume that Ortex is not getting live updates from Interactive Brokers. That's a very fair assumption. And then I asked them, well, what's the coverage? We know all of this data is 85% of all prime brokers. But when I was talking to them, I realized that not all prime brokers allow for live updates. So the information we're seeing throughout the day is 60% coverage. So obviously that's not the full picture, but it's also better than a single data source. We are just trying to get the most accurate picture we can. And as of now, I don't know of any other data source that has greater than a 60% coverage throughout the day. So that's just kind of the discrepancies that we're seeing between Ortex, iBorrowDesk, and Fintel. I just wanted to make that blatantly clear. Okay, so now let's hop into like one of the crazy theories I'm running with right now about why a new unique way in terms of what I'm seeing in the data that I don't see anyone else discussing that really does indicate the short positions these hedge funds betting against AMC specifically are pretty much uniquely screwed at this point. So if you yourself are using Ortex, let me show you how to bring this up. So right here, these are the two things I want to talk about. Okay, so yesterday for Tuesday, May 11th, the cost to borrow was 169%. Keep in mind, that's not what they pay every single day. That's what they would pay annually, and they pay like the proportionate amount per day. But even look at this right here. 5 million shares were borrowed today. They're all paying this fee on average. That's an incredibly high fee. As in every single day that this entire storyline continues, these hedge funds are legitimately hemorrhaging money, no less on today's days like today when AMC is actually green. So not only are they down on the position, but they're down even more because they're paying this borrow fee. Absolutely incredible. And it's just going higher and higher. So the other thing I wanted to point out is right here. These two lines, I'm not seeing anyone talk about this. So what I just added in the green was on loan, which is really best defined as like the average share that's on loan. How long has it been on loan? Well, look at this incredible trend. I mean, really ever since this first push at the end of January, start of February, it's just been up, up and away. And right now it's reading 47 days, as in the average hedge fund who's loaning out shares of AMC, or actually is borrowing them from someone who's loaned, has been in the position for 47 days, as in they've been paying this rental fee for 47 days. And if anything, it's just getting more and more expensive for them, which we can just clearly see in this trend of the cost to borrow going absolutely sky high. So they're holding for longer and longer and paying a bigger and bigger fee. Now, let me just clear this up. Now, this top line, which I haven't talked about, this is the number of loans per day. So anyone telling you about the shorts are covering and this whole thing, it's done, it's a dead cat, like there's no chance of a squeeze, look at that. In fact, when this went to $20 back at the end of January, at that point, the number of new loans per day was 539 and the average hold was 17 days. Look at this trend now. It's accelerating. The amount of loans per day is going up, and so is the average duration of every hold. This is just crazy. Right now, 1,500 new loans per day, and they're continuing to hold for longer and longer, which means that they're paying the fee. There's more and more fees being paid, which means for this overall entire AMC short situation, the amount of money that's being paid just to hold this is increasing at a very noticeable rate. And then hang on, it actually gets even crazier. Let's take a look at the overall market. Right there, S&P 500. We had a very noticeable breakdown in the S&P 500 today. I'm in no way calling for doomsday. I'm not calling for a market crash, a recession, a Great Depression, anything like that. I'm saying, hey, look, we had a clear technical breakdown, and it looks like there's a very good shot of the S&P 500 coming down to the key psychological level and technical support at 400. Why does this matter, especially in terms of AMC, GME? It means that these hedge funds, obviously, they have risk not only in those two stocks, but really the market at large. So not only is there risk picking up on AMC and GME, it's picking up in the stock market, which means that they are getting closer and closer to getting margin called, which means that they're getting forced to cut their risky positions. So right now, even if they had capital set aside to kind of withstand any upswing in AMC and GME of like, hey, we know we're going to go down by X percent. It's cool. We have capital to cover that. Well, now their safety net is getting smaller and smaller because the S&P 500 itself, all of their other investments are now really a risk for them. Granted, it could totally bounce. I admit that. Yes, it could bounce and they might get away like without really this hurting them too much. But if the S&P 500 continues to come down, they're going to have to start really being risk off. And at this point, it makes a lot of sense that they would get out of situations such as AMC because it's clearly going against them. And the rental fee itself for the shares on loan is just getting too immense in the aggregate. This is, I was talking with Ortex about this. I felt like no one was really shining a light on this information, but that's incredible to me. The average hold of shares on loan, 47 days, and we're seeing more and more loans go out per day. And the fee is just disgustingly high. There's just so many things aligning. The market's coming down, and then it's the cherry on top, the other catalyst that I've been talking about. I know AMC is doing a at-the-market offering right now. In my own opinion, there's a very good chance of that being done at the end of May. That then leads into the early June catalyst, such as the record date, the share recount, and then that leads into the end of June catalysts, such as F9, and then we have July with Black Widow. There are so many fundamental catalysts for AMC right now, and then really just structurally of the people betting against AMC, it's starting to look very bad. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy in a duck shirt, and I don't know what's going to happen. No one can guarantee anything. I'm just doing the best in my ability to kind of present what I see, what the data is showing in the current situation. With all that being said, of course, I would love to know your thoughts in a comment below. If you enjoyed this video and if you think it's helpful for other apes to see it, I would really appreciate it if you could drop a like, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button. All of that engagement truly helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, until I catch you next time, from me and Chair, best of luck in the stock market.